It's a SEC West showdown as number 1 Alabama welcomes the 12th-ranked Ole Miss Rebels to Bryant-Denny on Saturday. Alabama leads the all-time series 56-10 and have won 5 in a row over the Rebels, including a 63-48 win over the Rebels in Oxford last season. To preview this weekend's matchup between the number 1 Crimson Tide and the 12th-ranked Rebels, I'm joined by former NFL and Alabama quarterback John Parker Wilson. JP, it's going to be a fun one in Bryant-Denny on Saturday night, isn't it?
I'm telling you what, this is a big game. A huge matchup with a lot of implications on the line with where the SEC West is right now. It's still early in the season. Alabama going to its 5th game, but a lot of fireworks coming from the Ole Miss side.
Ole Miss is undefeated at 3-0. However, they haven't played a top 25 opponent yet, with their 3 wins coming over Louisville, Austin Peay, and Tulane. John Parker, just how good is this Ole Miss team?
They're fantastic. They really are. They can run it. They can throw it. They get a really dynamic quarterback that's a dual threat guy, leading right now in the Heisman campaign. So you couple that with Lane Kiffin and his ability to call plays and keep things different and fresh, I think they've got a lot going for them right now. And you just look at how many points they scored last year against Alabama, 48. I think they've gotten better since then.
Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral, as you said, he's one of the Heisman front runners. He leads the SEC and is 3rd in the nation in total offense at 385 yards per game, with over 50 of those being on the ground. The Alabama defense, they had a little trouble at times stopping Emory Jones in the Florida game. Plus, Ole Miss likes to run a lot of plays, fast tempo. What does Pete Golding and the Crimson Tide defense need to do to slow down Corral in this Ole Miss offense?
I think the biggest thing this week for Alabama's defense is really pre-snap. It's getting set, it's getting lined up, adjusting to what Ole Miss is showing us, and just being in the right place before the ball snap. Because I think once the ball snapped, we've got the athletes to take over. But if we can't recognize what they're trying to do before the ball snap, then we're out of position, and that's when you get blown coverages and big plays. So we've got to avoid that this week.
We've talked about Matt Corral and the Ole Miss offense, but, Bryce Young is looking pretty good, too. 20 of 22 last week, could have been 21 of 22. He had 5 touchdowns. How impressed have you been with Bryce and how this offense has played so far?
He keeps getting better and better each week, continuing to mature and grow. I think they're continuing to expand the offense, and what a performance he had last week. 20 of 22. I don't care if you're playing on air. That's getting it done. So he's got to keep that going this week, and I think really the ground attack coupled with the passing attack is what's really going to drive this offense. And also 2 tight ends right now, Cameron Latu and Jaleel Billingsley really coming on. I think it's adding depth and expanding our offense that we've seen, each week getting bigger and bigger in the playbook.
The Tide, they're 18th in the nation in total defense, while Ole Miss is 59th. Do you feel like the Alabama defense is a little better than the Ole Miss defense? And will the Tide be able to slow down the Rebels a little more than the Rebels can slow down Bryce Young and the Alabama offense?
I sure hope so. I think this defense this year has been tested. We've just grown on defense. We've continued to get better. Now this is going to be the biggest test of the year probably for this defense and going against Lane Kiffin. So I think our guys are moving in the right direction and had a really efficient game against Southern Miss. And that's what it's going to take this week.
All right, John Parker, a couple of quick questions. Do you think Ole Miss will kick to Jamison Williams this week?
Whew. After watching the tape last week, they've got to think twice about it if they do. The kickoff is interesting. Southern Miss tried to do the pooch kick on the second kickoff touchdown for him. He saw what they were doing. He cheated up and then caught it full speed. So unless you've got a kicker that can kick it out of the back of the end zone, he's going to get a chance. And I think even if he's 5 or 6 yards deep, he's going to give it a go. I think just with the confidence that they have on special team and the speed that he possesses.
What is your one key to the game for the Crimson Tide?
Efficiency. It's problem at Florida was a lot of pre-snap penalties, not getting set on offense. That really hurt a lot of drives on defense. It was some blown coverages, and it's not athleticism. It's just doing your job and being efficient when you do it, and it's going to come down to that. And obviously this game was many points that everybody thinks is going to be scored. 1, even two turnovers are going to be extremely costly. If hopefully we can be on the receiving end of that. Our defense has done pretty well this year of creating those turnovers, and Bryce has really held onto the ball extremely well so far.
Just a quick fact, JP. Lane Kiffin has never beaten Alabama as the head coach, and Coach Saban is 23-0 against his former assistants.
Let's keep it going. I like that streak, and 24 sounds even better. I think we got a good chance. We got a good team, and we've been tested this year, which like you said in the opening, Ole Miss really hadn't. They hadn't played on the road yet, and they haven't played any ranked teams. So I think we've got a lot of confidence going in this game.
Well, thank you for the insight, John Parker.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Kickoff in Bryant-Denny between number 1 Alabama and 12th ranked Ole Miss is set for 2:30 Central Time. The game will be televised on CBS. You can listen to John Parker Wilson, Eli Gold, and the rest of the Crimson Tide Sports Network crew online and on the radio beginning at 11:30. Reporting from the Crimson Tide Production Studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, I'm Christopher England with Tide TV.